Did you know that the new Kuriboh level 10 Sabatiel is basically an OTK FTK? Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. So this is something that my friend has been very passionate about. It's basically going to revolve around Venus and Emergency Teleport, both of these being some funny cards that are going to take advantage of the new Kuriboh level 10 Sabatiel to basically be able to set your opponent up to basically you set up your first turn, and then at the beginning of your opponent's turn, you're able to clear out the game. And we'll showcase this combo here to kind of get you an idea of how things are going to go. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start off with the Venus here. The Venus is going to go ahead and pay increments of 500 to be able to bring out all three of our Shine Balls. This is basically the standard A-Gen combo that most of you are pretty used to starting off here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our E-Telly and we are going to bring out Z-Amin, which we are going to need this for not only as a tuner, but we're also going to need this to be able to get a key search in here, because, hello, Rising Scale, how are you? So our next agenda here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to synchro into Pluto. So yes, the 7 and the 5 here are going to go ahead and get us into Pluto. Now, Pluto does a couple things. Once per turn, we can banish a monster from a graveyard, target effect monster on the field, and change its battle position. And then this is a quick effect. Of course, the Sanctuary is in the sky is on the field. But we can also banish this card from the graveyard to add the Sanctuary in the sky from the deck or graveyard to your hand. So it's a little bit more complicated of a field spell search, but this does bridge us into the Sanctuary in the sky. We're going to go ahead and synchro up the Venus together to make the Menacing Mantis Diabolantis. Now, Diabolantis still remains one of the most frightening little combo pieces that exist, because on Synchro Summon, you can send insect and or plant monsters from the deck to the graveyard up to the number of non-tuners used for this card's Synchro Summon. A little bit of a fun fact, there is no level restriction on what you send with this. So we're actually going to go ahead and drop down the Longophilia here, which, new Predaplant card? Okay, we'll get to that here in a little bit. So if this card you controlled is Synchro Summoning, target an insect or plant monster you control, and you can treat it as a tuner until the end of this turn. Oh, so he himself can also become a tuner. Yes, you can. So we're going to go ahead and modify, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to make Master Flare Hyperion, which, by the way, this just has to be a tuner plus a non-tuner fairy monster to make it, which is absolutely wonderful. We're going to go ahead and trigger his ability to go ahead and send down the Agent of Destruction, which now replaces his effect with the Agent of Destruction. So guess what? We're going to go ahead and banish to grab up the Sanctuary in the sky. So we do have our field spell in play now. And now we're going to go ahead and extend down the Rising Scale by banishing the Z-Amin here. Now we're going to go ahead and trigger scales to bring out the Sharukatsai. Sharukatsai is going to go ahead and trigger his ability. We're going to go ahead and fusion summon into the Rising card. Pretty standard little interactions here. We're going to go ahead and tribute him to bring out 2 more pieces, which is going to get us into the Deer Note and then get us into the Wagon. We're going to go ahead and pay the life points for the Wagon to grab up the Jam Extreme session here. Keep in mind, all of this is mandatory for you to be doing. You're like, maybe we could shortcut this. No, we need to be reducing our life points for Sabatiel. There is a reason for that. We're going to go ahead and convert our monster, Mr. Shineball, into the Link Spider. Now, you saw that we just triggered this Longophilia here. Now, Longophilia has a very, very broken effect that says we can banish this card from the graveyard to activate one of these effects. We can actually place a Predator counter on one face-up monster on the field, and if we do, if it's level 2 or higher, it becomes level 1, and as long as it has that Predator counter, it becomes a level 1, which is actually going to be hilarious here because this is going to be part of our little combo here, which we will go ahead and actually convert the beautiful Deer Notes into a level 1 so we can actually make Cubsy Yummy Way here. Now, Cubsy Yummy Way is going to go ahead and stack on standby here in a second, but we're also going to bring back our Rising Scale. And we're going to go ahead and grab up Cookie, and we're going to go ahead and grab up Cubsy here from the deck. So now you're going to go ahead and see we're going to be kicking out a card from our hand. We're going to go ahead and actually make the Lahamu the Messenger of the Sacred Scripture here. Now, the reason why we're actually making this is because we need an actual fairy monster on the the field for this, which is kind of the important part here so that we can do our thing. We're going to go ahead and pay some life points. We're going to go ahead and trigger up the Venus off of our Master Flare. Now that we had a fairy monster, we can combine it together with the Mystical Shine Ball to actually make the protector of the agent's moon. So yes, it is important that you do play the Lahamu, because protector of the agents does require 2 fairy monsters to make it. So on Synchro or on Summon here, we're going to get to go ahead and send a Sanctuary in the Sky or a card that mentions it from the deck or graveyard, which we are going to go ahead and drop down everybody's favorite Majesty, Hyperion here, and we're going to go ahead and make the Celestial Night Lord Parshath, and we are going to slam down Sanctuary in the Sky, which is now going to convert our Night Lord Parshath's ability to a discard to add a Sanctuary in the Sky or a card that mentions it in its text. Since we have Sanctuary in the Sky, we get to add any fairy monster from our deck to our hand instead. So we'll go ahead and trigger. We'll go ahead and discard our other card here to add up the Sabatiel here from the deck to the hand. All right, so we're going to go ahead and Cupsy on down here. We're going to grab up the Yummy Surprise. We're going to go ahead and Cookie down. We're going to go ahead and make the Cupid Pitch at this stage. We're going to go ahead and make an Ancient Sacred Wyvern here, which is very, very important to the combo. We're going to go ahead and grab up Madam Spider here. All right, we're going to go ahead and Yummy back. We're going to go ahead and make the Giant Mimighoul here. I know this is kind of getting a little bit out of hand with what we're doing. We're going to go ahead and recruit for the Mimighoul Fairy now. We're going to go ahead and make the Geonator Transverser. And we're going to go ahead and rotate field spells here. We're going to go ahead and make the Madam Spider here, which is going to let us pay 600 to add a trap from deck to hand. I'll go ahead and grab up Dangerous Gabu here. We're going to go ahead and bring back the Majesty. And we're going to go ahead and make the Jiraishin the Cursed Thunder God. Oh, okay. So at this stage, we're going to go ahead and set. We're going to go ahead and Geonator Transverser here and go ahead and swap those zones, giving our opponent the Ancient Sacred Wyvern here. And then we are going to go ahead and attempt to use the Jiraishin effect. It's a quick effect. Activate one of these effects, destroy all spells and traps that the opponent has, or do the board wipe. But we are going to go ahead and just trigger that off, and then Sabatiel is going to come down at the beginning of the opponent's turn and actually close us out of the game. So it's really funny because you have to trigger Jiraishin as Chainlink 1 and then trigger Sabatiel as Chainlink 2, and then Sabatiel will come down here. Now the way that this card works is during the opponent's turn, if you have 1,000 or less life points, quick effect, special summon this card from your hand, and then inflict damage to your opponent equal to the highest attack among the monsters that they control. Since we did have the Jiraishin paying the 1,500, we were able to actually find that life point difference, putting us down to 500, actually putting us within the window to actually clear this up and be able to play the game and actually perform the FTK. Is it a good mimic or a cool gimmick? I mean, it's something. Let's pass on over to that very interesting deck. So this is the pile of gimmickry, is where you're going to call it, that you are basically going to be playing. And yes, we are maximizing on both of the Venuses and the Shine Balls to be able to kind of do some of the craziness that this list has. And yes, Sanctuary in the Sky is probably going to be the most important part of the deck, because you need to be able to find a way to search for this. And currently the best way is going to be through the Sanctuary cards. And I know that this looks, you know, a little bit speculative on how to play this. I don't really blame you for having those thoughts. I mean, when we were working with gimmick decks like this, you know, or showcasing, you know, the ideas of how these gimmick decks are actually supposed to work. I mean, we went through a lot of the extra deck down here in order to try to make this combo go through. I mean, that's kind of what a standard dual puzzle is when you look at these sorts of things. I mean, and this is all possible because of Ancient Sacred Wyvern being a modifier. I mean, I think something like this is going to be a little bit inconsistent on the forefront of, you know, being an idea that somebody is going to try out, but I appreciate the effort, and it also kind of shows, you know, that Longophilia being a level modifier might actually see some play in in some of the other builds for combos, especially, you know, being useful with Diabolantis, you don't really consider the ideas and things that, you know, little intricate pieces like that can actually do, because you don't get punished with Longophilia and get locked in any sort of situation. Actually, I think this card might actually be kind of interesting going forward here for some of these ideas. What do you guys think about, you know, another little FTK to have some fun with? Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.